Ran it up, touchdown, I'm snapping. In the field with the plays, John Madden. It's so many given Sunday magic. Light skin, prime time action. Run it up, touchdown, I'm snapping. In the field with the plays, John Madden. It's so many given Sunday magic. Round of applause and you go, that's it. Damn, that's a bomb with a flick on my wrist. Jersey on my chest, that's a team that I rep. Came in as a rookie now.
This is a special presentation of EA Sports from the Coliseum in Oakland. Our tribute to the coach, the John Madden Legacy Game. I'm Brandon Gaudin here to take you through the proceedings. And coming up, we're going to tell the story of a man who was truly larger than life and whose impact on the sport of football certainly is going to live on for decades and decades to come. Now, we've assembled a couple of rosters featuring some of Coach's favorite players from both yesterday and today. And Coach himself will be on the sidelines for both squads, trying to motivate his guys to victory. And I'm joined now by my good friend Charles Davis. CD, your thoughts on John Madden and what he meant to the sport he loved so much?
For me, Brandon, it's the word joy. He brought that to the game of football, brought the game to so many people. He stayed involved his entire life. And moving forward, when you think of football, you're always going to think John Madden.
The Coliseum back to its original 70s glory. What a scene in the East Bay. And we're underway in the John Madden Legacy Game. Here comes Devin Hester bringing it out. And he will be brought out here inside the 20. Good coverage as he's dropped at the 17. So it's the NFC stars who will get the ball first. And Charles, as we alluded to, we've got a different era of coach on each sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, we'll call him Young John Madden. This is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as the coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL, and then in the NFL in the early 70s. Coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice, because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
So as we mentioned at the top, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And, you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. And he played his high school ball at Jefferson High. Eventually,
and that's caught inside the 35. And he'll be hauled down to the...
Brandon, we've both been around the game long enough that we know that in pregame, defenses are pretty amped up, aren't they? I mean, they're pounding lockers, and they can't wait to get out there. But when you hit them with some big pass plays early, it takes the starch right out of them.
On 1st and 10, it's Sanders. And he can only manage to get a couple. 2nd and 8 coming up. But Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st-round draft pick back in 1958. It was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp. Actually never saw the field as a player. Trying for Sanders, but this is intercepted. Picked up by 9-time Pro Bowler Ed Reed. And he'll take it across midfield to the 46-yard line. So after the INT, it's Brady. Rush. Taken down. It'll be a loss of 10. And it'll bring up second. Well, the very first thing they told us, Charles, was we need to apply pressure early. And I would call that early pressure a nice sack to start the game.
And on the other sideline, I just have this image in my mind of the head coach on the headset with the offensive coordinator asking him if that's exactly what he saw in his mind when he called that play. And if so, is it going to be like this all day? That's a tough one right there.
Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course, and the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, 1967, Brandon. Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. They had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost immediately. Helped the Raiders win the AFL title in 1968. And that meant a date with the Green Bay Packers in what was now known as Super Bowl II. But by 1969, at the age of 32, just 32, Brandon, John Madden assumed the mantle of head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And what a ride he, the Raiders, and the NFL were about to go on.
The NFC offense coming out here, and you know, Charles, Coach Madden always said that if he had one drive to win a game and he had to pick a quarterback, he would pick Kenny Stabler. But I think if you asked him to omit any of his Raiders players, there's a good chance the guy he'd select would be Brett Favre.
Brett Favre is always smiling. He's always laughing. He's always talking to someone. He remembers that it's a game. And if it's a game, you should have fun.
And Brandon, that always reminds me of a great movie line where one of the players was telling a coach, every time I say it's a game, you say it's a business. And every time I say it's a business, you say it's a game. With Coach, it was always a game.
They go back to the air here after the INT on the last drive. And he hits Jason Witten, the tight end. Charles, you talked about John Madden and the Raiders going on a ride. Well, try these numbers on for size. In 10 seasons as a head coach, the Raiders won their division 7 times. They finished second the other 3 times. And he became the youngest coach to amass 100 career regular season victories and is still, to this day, the franchise leader in wins.
And when you think about it, that's where that rivalry with Kansas City really took root. As did the expression, commitment to excellence. And boy, was it personified by the players who played for Coach Madden. On offense, how about quarterback Kenny Stabler, wide receiver Cliff Branch, wide receiver Fred Biletnikoff, tight end Dave Casper, to name a few. How about this great lineman he had? Center Jim Otto, guard Gene Upshaw, tackle Art Shell, all of them in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And guys on the defensive side of the ball, the Mad Stork himself, Ted Hendricks, Willie Brown, John Matuzak, Otis Sistrunk, and Big Ben Davidson. So many great players, so many great memories.
They'll try and throw for it with Favre. And looking for Kittle, but it's intercepted. And his crew will take over at their own 45-yard line.
Well, it doesn't take a whole lot of investigation to figure out why they're still sitting at 0 on the scoreboard, because their quarterback's got to wake up and start reading defense a heck of a lot better after throwing his second interception.
But the AFC making their way out, and it's one of Coach's favorites, another local guy, Tom Brady, who will be at the controls. And boy, Coach always admired the way number 12 could run an offense, and especially his ability to stay calm under pressure.
Tom Brady is a guy who's always looking downfield. He never looks at the rush. He hangs in the pocket, and he makes a throw. He's a cool guy. He's a tough guy. Let me tell you, there's no one calmer in the pocket than Tom Brady.
And I know that Coach has a great appreciation for Tom Brady, who turned 45 back on August 3rd, because Coach coached a guy like him in George Blanda, who Tom in the NFL. In this game, it features legends and active players. Tom Brady qualifies as both.
Steps away. And he can't find anywhere to go with it, and he goes down. So we're through one at the Coliseum in Oakland. The AFC with the football here to begin the second quarter, as they've got it facing a second and long situation. throw is Brady. This throw incomplete, nearly picked off. And with his pedigree, he doesn't drop many of those. But third down coming up. An incomplete pass on that last play, and that means they'll need to come up with something here on third down. The first throw now for the backup Mahomes. And this is caught. It's Brown. They'll get 17 back there, but it'll still lead to a fourth down. They'll go for it. It's Mahomes. A hit as he throws, and this is going to be incomplete. So certainly an interesting call there to go for it. And the NFC is going to get the football back in excellent field position. The NFC heading back out. Hall of Famer Randy Moss, a part of this offense. And Coach Madden, boy, he always appreciated the ferociousness with which number 84 attacked the football in the air.
As Randy Moss says, just chunk it up there, dog, and I'll go get it.
And, Coach, boy, did he ever go get it. Over 15,000 receiving yards, 156 touchdowns. And how about this? From his rookie year of 1998 until 2000. Seasons, right? He led the league in touchdowns 5 times, but even more so, he showed us all how to go up and get it. Great body control. No one's ever done it better playing the ball in the air.
Running right, here's Sanders. And he gets forward up the middle, but only for a couple. It'll be second down. Charles, you think about all the success that John Madden had as an NFL head coach, and he had plenty, and we talked about it, including the 10 straight winning seasons, the Super Bowl title. But like any great coach, he also suffered through a few tough losses along the way as well.
And Brandon, those tough losses came in high-stakes games because they always had such great success. Think about it this way. 6 times in his 10 years, the Raiders were knocked out near the AFL championship game or the AFC championship game. But might be a divisional round exit. That's the one that bothered him most of all. Three Rivers Stadium, December 1972. Yes, the Immaculate Reception game. Franco Harris grabbing the ball that was deflected. Almost at his shoe tops, he picked it up and took it in for a game-winning score to give the Steelers a 13-7 victory. And partner, anyone who loves black and silver still doesn't believe that ball hit anyone in black and silver that day, and that play should never have counted.
5 yards remain on second down. They'll run with Sanders up the middle. And the running lane's non-existent in this first half as they'll stop him behind the line. The CD, we spoke of some of the Raiders' tough playoff losses through the decade of the 70s, but for one shining season, they put it all together, and that was 1976. You remember a 13-1 regular season, a memorable playoff win over New England. They dominated the Steelers 24-7 in the AFC title game, and then, and for the third time here in this half, it's intercepted. Steve Atwater with a pick, and the return will stop right around the 25. If you're a lover of offense, this has not been the half for you thus far. Luckily for me, though, I'm sitting next to a lover of defense, and we have had plenty of that, including that interception.
Yeah, and I mean, that still makes it a great game, doesn't it? Everybody talks about if the ball's not in the end zone and points going up on the board, it's not as much fun. I love these defensive battles. Something's got to give with these turnovers. Who can convert them into points?
Got his man complete over the middle. That's Allen. So, Charles, after that Super Bowl title in the 76 season, the Raiders again advanced the AFC Championship game the following year, but they fell to the Denver Broncos on New Year's Day by a field goal, and that ended their chances for back-to-back titles. And then in 1978, after missing out on the playoffs in that season, John Madden, he actually stepped down as coach of the Raiders January 4th, 1979.
Yeah, that was a surprise for the league because remember, Brandon, he coached 10 seasons in the NFL, but he put everything he had into the Oakland Raiders, into being a head football coach, into guiding, mentoring, loving his players. And he just sort of felt like it was the right time to step away. And even though he was just 42 when he left, even though there would be overtures for a return to coaching in the future, many overtures, he never returned to the sideline.
And even though he didn't, we all know his work with the NFL was far from finished, and a lot of chapters of the John Madden story were still left to be written.
I know sometimes we can get fooled when we watch him make catches, as we just saw him do there, because he really looks like a wide receiver the way he goes about his business.
Yeah, 230, 240 range.
Yeah, not super huge. Maybe not counted on to be that inline point-of-attack blocker that we used to have in the good old days. But you can flex him out. You can run wide receiver routes with him. You can make him a...
Coming up in the second half, we'll run through John's post-coaching triumphs. But for now, we present a special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by the Raiders' own Trey Mosley.
What comes to mind when you hear the name Madden? Is it the coach who led the Raiders to their first Super Bowl victory? Perhaps it's the broadcaster who entertained millions of fans. Or maybe it's the video game known simply by his name. But no matter what comes to mind when you hear the name Madden, everyone thinks of one thing: football.
The core of it was football. It's the greatest game in the world. The left goes to the right goes to the left.
Madden is on the field. He wants to know if it's real. John Madden goes on the shoulders of his players.
In my mind, John Madden is the most important figure in the history of professional football. Show me somebody else who did it on 3 levels the way John did it. There's nobody.
Boy, Charles, yeah, that is really well done. Coach was something else, wasn't he?
I'm reminded what Al Davis said when he was inducting coach of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Brandon. He loved the game. He loved his team. He loved the Raiders. He loved this league. And you can see it with everything he does.
No doubt. But it's quite possible, though, that now he would say, hey, enough of that. Let's play some football. The second half forthcoming from Oakland. The AFC going to get the football first here as we are back underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy game. Here comes Hall. He's going to bring it out. The lane opens here. He's past the 30. The AFC offense set to take their next drive. And we thought this game had the potential to be tight, maybe not this tight, scoreless as we start the third quarter.
And I love the way you use the word tight. I'm going to take it a little bit different direction here because it's not just tight on the scoreboard. I think both offenses have been tight in how they've played this game. No one's been loose. No one's been free. They've got to find a way to make some plays, and I don't think you do it if you're really tight in everything that you're doing in the game.
Now Allen. And he is going to lose yardage here. Guess who made the tackle? Yes, Reggie White. So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42. He just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, he was pretty much an instant success.
Partner, he really connected with the people right from the start, and people may not remember, he wasn't even on the #1 team in the beginning. He worked his way up. But the same things that made him a great coach made him a great broadcaster. The ability to show the big picture yet break it down into the details. That's what he did with his teams. That's what he did with the people. That way, he was simple to understand, yet insightful for viewers, and did with that big personality that he had, one that connected with everyone.
Here's Allen. And down inside the 15 he goes. 16 yards, a little deja vu from the previous play where they got 16. So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went on to call 8 Super Bowls together, but how they put together kind of the template that all of us broadcasters follow now. Sitting down with the head coaches and the quarterbacks and the stars of each team before a ball game to get extra information. And the way that those two paired together, Pat Summerall, short, concise, to the point, and turned it over to Coach Madden to fill in all the big details. What an excellent defensive stand there in the red zone. Nice tight coverage. They certainly recognized how important it was to bring up 4th down here.
Yellow.
Mahomes throwing on 4th. Touchdown! Mahomes finding Tyreek Hill. And the AFC is in for 6. Well, these two teams battled through a scoreless first half. Finally, a breakthrough here in quarter number 3.
And I just wonder how that played for both of them psychologically. Because when you battle through a scoreless first half, now you know that every possession is increasingly crucial. Who can put points on the board, make the other team chase? Wonder if you get a lift and if they get deflated a little bit.
Vinatieri able to tack on the PAT. And that makes the score 7-0. A good drive that time as they go 9 plays in all. And it ends with a touchdown pass to Tyreek Hill. And here's Vinatieri now to kick it away after the touchdown. Hester to return from his end zone. And he's able to get this across the 20, but not by much as he's marked down officially at the 21. The offense for the NFC ready to get their next drive started. And this game was all square at halftime, but now they find themselves down 7 following the opening drive touchdown here in the 3rd quarter.
And they need to take a good, relaxing, deep breath, don't you think? Because right now they might start to feel like they've got to play catch-up here and start matching them point for point. But it's still too early to get there. They can still run their offense. Plenty of time to get back in this game.
Play action. It's Favre. And his pass is intercepted for the 4th time today. Picked off by Stephon Gilmore. And they have the football and will set up shop at the 33-yard line. Boy, Charles, that is now 3 interceptions in 3 consecutive drives. And you can see he's just got a look of disgust and bad body language, understandably, as he walks off the field.
And I think it... what he sees down the field, Brandon. I don't know if he's seeing ghosts. I don't know if he just can't read defenses. I'm not sure what it is, but that's why he's frustrated. Think about the defense right now. Every time they run on the field, they've gone from hoping to intercept a pass to expecting to intercept passes. Their confidence at an all-time high right now.
And he's got this down almost to the 20 before he's dropped. Give him 12 yards on that one. It earns him a fresh set of downs. Three quarters complete now in the John Madden legacy game from Oakland. It's the AFC on top. And we're back to the Coliseum after this. Back now here on EA Sports. It's the AFC with the lead and the football as we begin the fourth quarter. Mahomes now on first down. Caught by Allen. And they've got it inside the 10 at the 8. As you mentioned, CD, talking about John Madden, the broadcaster, he called 8 Super Bowls with Pat Summerall, 3 more with Al Michaels later in his career. He spent nearly 3 decades in the booth all told. And not only was he beloved for his mannerisms, we know that, but he was an innovator as well.
Yeah, Brandon, you talk about things like the telestrator, which totally became identified with him, and now it's a staple for all analysts to have in the booth. And then you think about things like turducken on Thanksgiving, when you use words like boom and pow. He helped create the old Madden team. He was a very popular commercial pitch man. And even the Madden Cruiser was unique, and you had to be someone to get a ride on it, too.
On second and goal, Mahomes. And he can't get rid of it. He's taken down. A loss of 3 on the sack made by multiple defenders.
So once again, they dial up the pressure and get home and get a sack. It brings up a 3rd and long, but it's really not an unmakeable one, especially considering they just gave up back-to-back sacks.
2 straight sacks have them backed up now for a 3rd and goal. On the draw, here's Allen. And he is going to lose yardage here. A loss of a yard, and it brings up 4th.
When a draw works, it can be a thing of beauty. But when it doesn't, oh, it can be ugly. And in this case, loss of yardage ugly.
They don't need to run another play here before the 2-minute warning. Let's see if they do it anyway. Mahomes going to go on 4th down. Now look at this. They get the turnover they needed. It's intercepted. Deion Sanders, the Hall of Famer, with a pick. And he'll go down inside the 15 at his own 13-yard line. Ready to begin their next drive here, the NFC offense. And we've seen drive after drive come up empty for them, and they've yet to dent the scoreboard, yet still. Oh, wide open, complete. Touchdown. Jerry Rice, 87 yards. And the NFC just an extra point away from tying up this game. Well, the hard part's done. Now they just need to split the posts, tie it up, but then their defense is going to have to hold up to send it to overtime.
Yeah, no matter what. I know there's an inclination in it when you have momentum to go for 2 here, but if you miss it, you don't give your defense a chance at all.
Plus, it's been a good game. I want to see overtime. I'm selfish.
You obviously don't have a flight to catch.
Tomorrow. So all even at 7 now as they kick it away. Fielded just outside the goal line. And he'll get it up across the 20 to the 21-yard line. The offense for the AFC set to go now. They had the interception last drive, led to the tying touchdown. So 7-7 the score as they begin 1st and 10. Meanwhile, Mahomes' throw into the hands of Gonzalez here. He's got this almost to the 40 before going out. Now, CD, we did get a little ahead of ourselves talking about John Madden, the broadcaster in the 90s and 2000s, because there was another product during that time period that he became quite famous for, and it's something that you and I know a little bit about, and that's the video game that bears his name. That's caught inside the 20. And they're going to get this down to about the 17-yard line here.
And this is obviously a spot where you lean on your stars. Get the ball to them in open space and let them do what they do.
So the big play means just like that, they'll operate from the red zone now on first down. Now a carry for Allen. And that's a touchdown as they've broken our tie here in the final minute of the fourth.
Well, any thoughts about overtime have ended at this juncture. That touchdown puts them up 6. I would imagine they'll kick the extra point now and rely on their defense.
Yeah, rely on their defense. So a little bit of time left on the clock here in the fourth, but they got to feel good now. Vinatieri now for the point after. And he's got it. It's now a 14-7 ball game. So the drive there, they went 80 yards in 3 plays. And it's capped off by the late touchdown. It's a 7-point lead here in the final minute of the game. And here's Vinatieri now to kick it away after the touchdown. Very short kick. This will be taken by one of the up men. And they're going to have really good starting field position here as that's taken up close to the 40. The offense for the NFC ready to get their next drive started.
Well, partner, coaches always say that every play is designed to score a touchdown. Sometimes that's not really true, but last drive, that was the case. One play to get into the end zone, and now they'll try to duplicate.
Tries for Rice, intercepted. Picked off by Stephon Gilmore, and his guys are going to take over at the 39-yard line. Well, and I saw the pressure coming at him. That just looked problematic. Hit him as he threw it, and the interception ensued.
Let me pay homage to the man who stood in this spot before. He always took it.
And he can't get a throw off. He's taken down. What a huge play at this point in the game. Mahomes to throw.
On the throw led him too much that time. It's incomplete. Well, this has certainly been special. And, Charles, as we wind down toward the end of this John Madden legacy game, your final thoughts?
Well, let's face it, partner, it's going to be hard to overestimate the impact that he made, not just on the sport of football, but on his family, friends, players, co-workers, and in the lives of millions of Americans who watched it. There will never be another John Madden. Nice back-to-back plays defensively. They're stacking momentum now. 1 incompletion, 2 incompletion. They're going for more.
Now Mahomes. And going deep for Hill. And he's got it inside the 10. And he's across for the late touchdown. And in the final seconds, that one should just about put a capper on this game.
And that touchdown, Charles, with very little time remaining, boy, it just sucked any energy and momentum out of the other sideline.
Yeah, take an incredible comeback in the final minute to bring this one back to even. A great series there offensively. They saw an opportunity to slam the window shut, and they followed through.
Vinatieri now to tack on the PAT. Oh, they flip it to the kicker. He looks like he's going to throw it. And this is caught at the 5. And he gets in. And no one was expecting a fake there, but they add 2 more onto their lead.
All right, partner, one more time. Our whole lives, you put the ball on the 3-yard line, kick the extra point. 2015, they put it on the 15 to kick the extra point. 2016, they said, we're leaving it there. So if you want to fake it, that's a long way to go. And they got it done.
I was going to say, they had a 15-yard play in their back pocket.
You don't see that on too many play sheets, do you?
No. And here's Vinatieri now to kick it away after the touchdown.
From the 10. And they'll get him down inside the 30 to 27.
begin their next drive here, the NFC offense. They can't do much at this point, partner. This one is going to go down in the loss column.
You don't make up for what has happened during the game in this sequence here. Maybe you hand it off.
And this is intercepted, and that should do it. And he will be out of bounds here with zeros up. So it's a win here for the AFC on an incredible afternoon of football and remembering the life of John Madden. Before we go, one final message, and for all of us at EA Sports, this one's for you, Coach.
I just say this, I thank you all very much. This has been the sweetest ride of them all.
Time to decide how you're going to make your Madden NFL 23 debut. You